What's good, YouTube family? Anthony Cordova here, and I'm back with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to explore what does it take to build a lowrider in 2023, 2024. We're heading into 2024 next month. And I feel like lowriding has gotten so far away from what it started out as. Most people think you probably need a shit ton of money, rocket science level ingenuity, and yes, there are lowrider builds out there and there's nothing wrong with them, that are fully chromed out, fully customized paint jobs, fully customized interiors, fully customized engraving and all that stuff. But there are still some cars that you can get out there on a smaller budget and still customize on a smaller budget. For Chicanos, Lowriding started out as a protest to the establishment and a way to express ourselves and our artistry through our cars. While our white counterparts were out there putting engines and swapping out engines in their Model A's to make them faster, Chicanos were putting sandbags and cutting springs in their Chevys to make them lower and slower. Lowrider purists are probably going to tell you need a Monte Carlo, an Impala, or a Cutlass. But in the 80s and 90s, literally, you could lowride pretty much anything with some exception. I bought my first lowrider when I was 19. It was a red 74 Monte Carlo with bucket seats, a tan landau and tan interior with the center console shift. And I remember it sitting in the driveway in this house that I used to drive by for $1,700 with the window sticker on it, or a window for sale sign. And I had like $1,400 in savings, and I was looking for my first car, and with a little loan from a friend, I was able to get my first ride. And I remember how proud I was to have my first car that I could fix up for myself. And the first thing I did was take it to the exhaust shop and put some glass packs on it, and so I could get that little wrap and that little rumble. And then the second thing I did was save up a little bit more money, and I went and put a stereo in it on my own. I put a CD player in it with a couple 6x9s in the package tray and some 6.5s in the doors. And it wasn't that loud, but it was loud enough to bump the Chronic on repeat like a million times. And after that, I saved up enough money to put some Roadster wire wheels. That brand doesn't exist anymore, but back then there was Roadsters and Roadstars, which were like the knockoff version, like a Dayton version. And they were about $1,000 with shaved white walls and tires and everything. And that's what I could afford. And Dayton's back then were like $3,000 still, or $2,500 with rims and tires and everything. And Roadstars were about the same. And then from there, I saved up a little bit more money, and my cousin had a set of hydraulics for like $400. I paid one of the OGs like $200 to put it in for me. And bam, I was rolling, even though I didn't even make battery racks or anything. The batteries were sliding around, and I bolted the actual pumps to the trunk, but it didn't matter. I was still rolling. My point is that back then I did it on a budget, and you can still do that now. There are still plenty of cars out there that if you have enough imagination and you aren't afraid to get your hands dirty, that you can build for cheap. Especially right now, the car market is going down and the economy is generally in a downturn right now. So that means that people are going to be looking to sell cars for cheap right now, and sometimes even pennies on the dollar. I can think of 3 cars right now that can be had for around $2,000, or maybe sometimes even under if you find the right deal. The 90s Lincoln Town cars are a great foundation for a lowrider. Even the 2000s, a early 90s Cadillac Fleetwood, the 4-door version of a Coupe de Ville, and even the 96s, 95s in that area, but they're going to be a little bit more expensive. And then the Buick version of that is the Buick Roadmaster, which is also another good platform for a lowrider. All rear-wheel drive cars and all good places to start. And if you're trying to get into the lowrider game, this is a great place to start. And of course, if you have a bigger budget, you can go for the Impalas, the Monte Carlos, and the Cutlasses of the world. And that would be a dope place to start too, if you can afford it. If I was building my first lowrider, I would look for a car under or around $2,000. with decent mileage and start from there. But first, I would make sure that I could fix anything that would be wrong with it, or I could have somebody help me fix that stuff for cheap. Don't, after this video, go out and buy some piece of shit with a million problems and try to start from there. If you feel like you can't fix it yourself or can't have somebody do it for you for cheap, or it can help you do it, please don't get into something that's going to have a million problems, because it's just going to sit there in your driveway or wherever in your garage collecting dust and collecting rust, and you'll never fulfill your dream of cruising on the boulevard in something that you did yourself. Look for something running with little to no problems. And with that being said, here are some things that you should look out for. Anything with excessive electrical problems, stay away from. Anything with excessive frame damage or excessive damage in general, and anything with excessive rust is something that you should stay away from. If you're really serious about getting into the custom car game, get out there and network. I guarantee you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that has a car for sale. I think networking is very underrated when it comes to building cars. With a strong network, you can have access to people you wouldn't normally know, to parts you wouldn't normally be able to get a hold of, and cars you wouldn't be able to normally get a hold of. It's way better than trying to do everything on your own. So the best way to buy a car is to meet somebody. Don't be afraid to tell somebody you want to meet them at your local repair shop. Ask around somebody to let you put a car on a lift, or if not, jack it up, take a jack with you, and take somebody that knows if you don't know about cars. And don't be afraid to crawl under the car and look, because sometimes cars have hidden damage that you wouldn't normally see unless you get under there and really look. So assuming now that you have a running car with a decent paint job on it, the first thing you're going to want to do is put some wheels on it. I would start out with some Chinas. They're around $1,200 on the low end to $1,500 if you find a good deal. And depending on if you want a daily driver or a weekend cruiser, you can do 13s or 14s. Unless you have a big budget to spend $3 to $5,000 on a set of wheels and tires, I would go with some Chinas to start off with. The last set of Chinas that I bought for $900. A guy put them on his car. They were brand new. They were a set of 14x7s, and they were all chrome, and they were knockoff style Chinas, and I got them for $900 because the guy just didn't like the way they looked on his car. I got those off of Craigslist, so you might want to look in the marketplace ads for wheels or Craigslist. And the next thing you want to do is focus on either hydraulics or a stereo system. Hydraulics are going to set you back between $1,500 for a single pump to like $3,000, $3,500 for double pump setup. That's not including batteries or install. And please, if you do not know how to do an install on your suspension, or that even goes with doing brakes, do not attempt to do it yourself, because you want to keep yourself and your loved ones safe. But I would start out with either hydraulics or a stereo. For a stereo, I would go to Amazon. You can get a decent stereo with speakers and everything for about $500. So now you have your wheels and your tires and your stereo and your hydraulics. And now you can address the paint. I've seen plenty of guys roll Lolos in primer. You can also just polish out the paint, or Lolos are always nice if you polish out the paint, assuming you have a decent paint job, or maybe even do some spot repair work on it, or have somebody do some spot repair work on it, and have it pinstripe. Pinstriping is an easy way to set your car apart from the crowd of just regular paint jobs. There's pinstripers out there that'll do pinstriping jobs for about $1,000, maybe even less. I don't know. That'd be an easy way to set your car apart from the crowd. And assuming you're not gonna get into any hopping competitions or any hopping wars on the streets, just a nice lay-in-place setup will work. Don't be stupid like me. When I had my Monty, I would be doing 60 on the freeway with the homies, and I would be hopping it, and I didn't have any reinforcements. My ball joints were all stock, and that is just a stupid and dangerous way to get yourself killed. So with that being said, that is an easy way to get started in the lowriding game, or in the custom car game in general. Start out with a cheaper car and build that, and then maybe sell it or upgrade. Most people can't see spending, or it's not feasible to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on one of these convertibles. And I know you see me in my videos working on these high dollar projects, these high budget convertibles, and I've been doing that for the past decade, but I didn't start out there. I started out with a low budget car, and a lot of my homies that are in the car game and have expensive cars now started out with low budget cars for the time and, you know, worked their way up from there. So it can be done on a budget. So with that being said, I hope you got some value from this video, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a video. We are at close to 500 subscribers. I want to keep this channel going, so it'd be awesome if you could support me in that way. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.